question goes to, why does on the recovery money, why has people decided in City Council to fund the Metropolis project at $28 million at 39th and State Street and not find $5 or $10 million for the Federation to build an infrastructure to create jobs for the low-income community from the bottom up so that we can break this cycle of poverty and redevelop our community rather than being displaced by urban regentrification?
Thank you.
Specifically, I'm speaking to recovery money, which we know is already here. We know it has to come through the state to come to Chicago. And so they've already made a decision to develop property for upscale development on former public housing land without empowering the indigenous residents. And I'm one of those low-income residents, right? Making less than $40,000 a year. Most of us in this community are in that condition, and we need to have wealth creation, ownership class, and an economic base that can rebuild our tax base so the dollar can go around 8, 9, 10 times so we can in fact have good schools and pay our fair share of taxes to the state of Illinois. That's all we want.
Well, I'm not, thank you, I'm not familiar with those specific competition between one proposal and the other I think you were laying out, but I'm going to get familiar with that. And I am, as is the governor, extremely interested in the vision that you just articulated.
It's very much top-down versus bottom-up. I marched in the parade with I've known Pat Quinn for 20 years as an activist. He comes from the activist community. I marched with him in 2007 in the Bud Billiken parade to show our commitment. He's an insider now, and he needs to deliver to those people he's been outside battling with for 20 years, trying to empower our community.
Prison, and they are doing prison jail, whatever. They are doing 4 to 5 years. Why can't we educate them while they're on the inside? Yes, they have an educational program. They only go to GED if they want to. They have choices. If I'm incarcerated, I have a turnkey. I don't have a choice when I eat, sleep, lay down, get up, what have you. So it should be mandatory. Instead of spending money on turnkeys and locks and doors, we need to start spending money on teachers and educators. Though they don't have their GED, we need to put them in the class, make sure that everybody in that goes to school like your regular school every day, but spend their time wisely. They got their GED, some high school want to go to college. We need to have a whole college set up inside these prisons so they can go to school. We need to educate them. We in the computer technology age. They need to be educated on computer technology, how to repair cable, the optic fiber, the Cisco system, how to be doctors, lawyers, teachers, whatever. So don't be incarcerated and say we're going to institute it back to society. What can you find for me to do if I spent my last 8 years in jail learning how to rip my next door neighbor off that's incarcerated like me? If we're going to reinstitute to society, we got to get some meaningful training programs up in there. Even though you got the stimulus dollars, I know you got some stimulus dollars put aside on reserve for just in case. You need to think about putting colleges and high schools inside these programs inside these institutions. So when y'all do come out, I'll be meaningful to society. You ain't gonna let me out and tell me I need to do this, and you haven't gave me any tools to work with for the last 8 years. I've been laying on my back in the exercise room.
Who's here
you want to do something? Find some meaningful, put some schools up in there, and make it mandatory that everybody go to class whether they want to or not.
That's a great
Thank you.
question.
I also wanted to point out that you signed new legislation. I mean, thank you, because that's fundamental. We do have, the governor appointed a new director of corrections who believes very much in what you just talked about. His name is Michael Randall. The other thing is that the governor did sign a bill that took some years for the advocacy community to work with the legislature. And the notion there, it's been called the Crime Reduction Act, but it's also called Redeploy Illinois. The notion there is, can we figure out when people come close to having to be sent to a correctional facility, do we really need to do that for everybody? Are there some programs that we can put together before people are assigned to a correctional facility and work with them so as to avoid that stay however many months or years it is? One thing very interesting is that Director Randall has pointed out to me, he's been on the job since June, that we have a very large number of people in Illinois who are sent to corrections for 6 months or less. And putting together some pre-work in the community may in fact be a much wiser use of our resources. So we need to work together on that kind, on your vision of making sure that people do have an opportunity for a job and not to waste any precious days, weeks, or months that they may be involved in corrections. So thank you.
Good afternoon, good morning. Almost afternoon. Anyway, thank you for coming, Mr. Stermer, and I want to also support Boulevard Federation, their focus on education issues, and in particular, House Bill 363, which the governor on the very last day of the bill becoming law actually did an amendatory veto. And I want you to just help us understand how it is that we can get the governor's support for this bill that is so critical to Chicago, because it's not going to help, not only help Chicago public schools become more fiscally responsible, but more responsive to communities like Grand Boulevard across the city of Chicago, where schools are being closed, schools are being opened, schools are being repaired, new construction, all without a master facilities plan like other large urban cities. What can we do to get the governor's support for this?
So this is the bill, Representative Soto is the lead sponsor. There were a couple of things in the bill that we thought could have been improved, and I'll just tell you one is that the date of the report was a couple of weeks after we got the bill, and so we thought, well, let's give this group a little bit more time to work. And we were so interested in the proposal that we wanted the governor to be able to have an opportunity to name some people. Now, the negotiations are going on, and we will support the new version of this that gets resolved next week, and I think we're very, very close to a resolution. We're very interested in what you're talking about.
Mr. Stermer, how do we, I believe that we can get more out of 50 minutes in a classroom. We need to upgrade the quality of education in the schools. We can get more out of 50 minutes in the classroom. And that's through integrated education, cross-linking your subject matters. And I'd like to get with someone to talk about that. And I was thinking that the state may need to take back over Chicago Public Schools or something, so that we can get some things done in terms of upgrading the quality of education in Chicago Public Schools.
Again, I'm glad that Dr. Irving has come today. So I want you to exchange cards so that you get an opportunity to follow up on that. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Tammy Barlow, and I'm with HRBI. And I have a question just regarding the governor's priorities for the stimulus money. If there is a way that I can, or we can all learn what those priorities are so that we can begin to access some of those funds so that maybe they can help us in some of our program development. This may be something I can speak to the doctor about, but put that to you first. Maybe you might be able to.
Well, just, overall, a lot of the stimulus money came in particular buckets, if you will. And so yesterday we announced the use of the $74 million in child care. And they're working with a statewide coalition of child care advocates. We decided to use a certain part of that stimulus money to lower the co-pays of parents who get child care subsidies. Another thing that we're doing with that is extending the opportunity for parents who lose their jobs to get a new job. So rather than having to have that new job secure in 30 days or lose your child care, now we've extended for 90 days. So there are some of those things that are changes in policy almost guided by the very federal legislation. Other things that are more competitive opportunities, we've certainly tried to build in as much as possible the opportunity for community-based groups to access. We'll partner with community groups. We don't think that that's a sustainable notion. We think partnering with community groups is a stronger and more viable way to energize the recovery.
So how do we build that? How does a community-based organization build that relationship with the governor's office to begin to have a dialogue around that?
Well, it's going to be through the various state agencies, whether they're transportation or human services,
DCEO.
DCEO, all of these. And one of the things that Dr. Irving is going to focus on is making sure that these relationships get established. So thank you for that question. It's a very important priority.